Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 500 of the Dead Robots Society.
Woo!
Who thought we would live to make it here?
I don't know. It's a good question. Who had the over under?
Up. I
You weren't
know I
betting?
muted that. There we go. I'm like, wait, I'm hearing myself talk. How did this happen?
As always, Terry has technical issues.
There we go. It's muted now. Thanks, everybody, for coming by. It's been a little bit more than 10 years since the Dead Robot Society kicked off. None of us was here at the beginning, but it sure has been one hell of a ride, and you folks have made it possible, and we're glad to have you here at this live show. Paul is joining me today, and of course, we've got David Wood joining us as well to try to keep us in some kind of track, and I have this cat that is also here.
See, this is exactly what it's like recording every damn show.
The herding cats is literal in Terry's case.
Well, it was literal with you. You had to kick one out of your bedroom.
Oh, no, he was outside. He was just displeased with the condition of the litter box.
I see.
For him to do his business.
Aha. Likely story. I don't believe any of it.
Somebody in chat says that because David is here, he's going to have to do memes in live time.
Yeah.
Man.
You know what? You are going to have to pay attention to the last two episodes that came out. I may have to send you the uncut version so you can hear some of the meme ideas, because there was a whole shitload of them thrown around.
Oh, see, I've been listening while doing projects around the house, so my attention tends to wander when I do that.
Well, we need the meme machine back in order. So
all right, let me find some porn sites right quick.
Hey.
Yeah, just remember, any picture you can make up with Paul pole dancing is probably a winner.
No. Terry,
whose pole is he dancing around?
Hey, family show here.
This isn't a family show, but we'll phrasing on that one. All right. It's shocking to me looking back and saying that we've been doing this for 10 years, or at least I've been doing this for 10 years. The show's a little bit more than 10 years old. And if I remember rightly, I came in sometime around episode 45. I have no idea where you came in, Paul, but it was sometime after that.
Late 100s or 200s.
Did you ever think we'd make it to episode 500?
I never really even considered that. If I remember correctly, you, Justin, and I joked about that at one point, about what was going to happen when we hit our 500th episode.
Well, we already know what's going to happen with episode 500. Paul already promised to do the conga dance.
No, I am not doing the conga dance. I am not doing a striptease, and this is not a musical episode.
Well, okay. Why am I here then? Jeez.
I thought with that beard you were the DJ.
No, I just wanted to be sexy like Terry.
You look like you're trying out for an early Grizzly Adams before he had all the testosterone to grow the beard properly.
Yep. Just a wannabe.
Episode 212-ish. Okay. So around 212. I was right. Upper 100s, early 200s.
Yeah, the show peaked about 190.
It's been all downhill since there, baby.
190, was that your first appearance on
I
the
don't
show?
know. It was in the Eliana days. That's all I remember. Once you had the guy who every week he was really, really angry at Walmart or somebody.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he went out, he left, and then, it was really good for a while. Then Paul came along.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. Well, yeah, that's when the show went to hell. But, what are you going to do? Here we are now. I don't know. I don't have much to tell you on that subject, on that score anyway. I don't know. I think that it's funny that we're getting here this year, and we've had, Justin left us in January. So it's been kind of a rebuilding year in a lot of ways for us. And I really wasn't sure how long we would keep at it after Justin left, but the show has just kind of changed and morphed. And I look forward to, just as I always have, I look forward to doing it every single week.
Sounds
Same
like
here.
my marriage.
Sounds like your marriage.
You know,
Well,
if you're doing that every week, you know, you probably do shows more often, really.
No, I thought he said every single month, you know.
Why are we still having this conversation? Move on. This is about the show.
I got to say that even though my memory of the show is all mashed together, because doing, gosh, 500-600 hours of show conservatively, it's hard to remember what the beginning show was like compared to what the show is now. But I know that I've changed. I know that as a writer, I've changed. As a host, I've changed. As a person, I've changed. And the show has changed since the beginning days as well. It used to be about beginning writers talking to other beginning writers about video games.
Yes, every one of them, because I recently went back. It was a show of excuses why I didn't do any writing this week because I was busy with video games and movies and TV shows. I swear, I don't think any of them had actually written anything in months when they started the show. I could be exaggerating a little, but not a lot.
I seem to remember that from the beginning. And nowadays, it's we talk about what we've managed to eke out in our writing and how we wish we'd been able to do more. So at least our attitude about writing has changed a little bit since the start.
Just a little bit. Just a little.
But it's amazing as we've grown as writers how the show has morphed. The things we want to talk about seem to be different than in the beginning, because obviously the show not only comes from readers asking questions, but it comes from things that we're struggling with as writers ourselves. And it makes me wonder if we're still here at episode 1000, what we'd be talking about.
Oh my God. Probably the kids on my lawn. Oh, wait, that's already now. Never mind. I don't know where we go from here.
There's damn weed eaters.
I'm telling you, the house next to me is empty. The only thing that'll ever bother you is coyotes out here. You can see people coming 7 miles away and you take pot shots at them. It's awesome. It's quiet. It's private. There is no grass to cut because it's the desert. Just don't step on the yucca.
Excuse me?
You know,
I had no intention of touching your yucca.
All right.
I don't even want to know about your yucca.
Yeah. But when I think about the way your show has changed, there are two considerations. One is that it transitioned from aspiring writers to working writers, as you guys said. But the other thing is, when the show began, it was still all about traditional publishing. The publishing industry itself has dramatically changed. I don't think there was Kindle yet, even. The options just weren't there to do anything other than write your books, go through the trad pub process, and cross your fingers. So there's just so much different content to talk about now than there was back then. Or maybe Kindle was around, but it was in its beginning days, but the revolution hadn't occurred. So I think both internally and externally, major changes have caused your show to be different.
Definitely, indie publishing has changed since it first started. It's been a chaotic ride of seeing how it's developed. And at this point, while it's still got change going on, the change is slower.
Yeah, it's reached, it's plateaued for the moment, but I still think there's a big disruptor coming. And I think I put this on my author page, but I now, for better or worse, I'm dealing with Authors Republic for Derelict Saga, since Derelict is non-exclusive Amazon. And when I went through HWA and SFWA looking for some information about it, everybody said basically they're making money from it. And it, brings in sales every month. I didn't really think that was going to happen with these titles because since they haven't been exclusive to Amazon, it's kind of hurt the marketing. But now these other places are showing up and they are marketing your books when you go with them. So maybe we're on the verge of another sea change coming. And then, of course, with the tax law that was dropped yesterday, things are going to change again. So when all the online retailers have to collect sales tax, state sales tax across the board, I have a feeling another disruption, economically speaking, anyway, how things work is going to get hit. I know me running my own store is going to get hit. So it's going to change, the market forces. And this stuff's happening every 3 to 6 months. There's some little tweak that screws us or helps us. We've just been on the losing end lately.
It's like the house odds in Vegas. The house always wins.
Yeah, pretty much. But we lived through the tumultuous changes. I mean, podcasting, you saw the rise of the Podio fiction novel. We saw the rise of it. It stuck around for a while, and now it's virtually extinct for the most part. It's moved into, more serials. It's moved into more of a deal for things like, oh God, what was the NPR show that caught everybody's attention? I can't remember now. Anyway, the talk show podcasts are much more popular than the fiction podcasts at this point, but you still have Escape Pod, Pseudopod, Castle Pod, and et cetera, and they still do, great work. But you can no longer use your novel as on Podio fiction to market as well as you used to. So that's a change that I've had to roll with over the last, 9 years. Things happen.
And just the whole strategy of marketing to people who are really only looking to consume free content. People are realizing that it has limited value.
Well, and at the same time, though, I think more people are waking up, and I think more and more folks are realizing that we can't keep creating the stuff they love without a little bit of help. So you have a choice as a content creator. Terry and I have a choice with this show. Can we put in advertising? Yes. Have we? No. Back when we weren't, basically we didn't have a Patreon or anything like that. It was kind of like, well, somebody's paying the bills for the show. We're paying to do the show. So it's changed things because you put that out there as an option. And now people are doing things like buying subscriptions, like Patreon, like all those kinds of things, because they see the value of the entertainment or they see the value of the content. So I think it's really hard to gauge how many folks do what they do. And on my podcast, I always ask, if you love the podcast and et cetera, can't afford the audiobook, fine, go buy one of my ebooks. Doesn't matter which one, go buy it, review it, spread the word. Don't have that? Well, can't do that. Just spread the word. So
I think one of the things that draws the patrons to us is the fact that they get the extra content of hearing us be extra grouchy before and after the show.
Yeah, that is very, very true. That it's been kind of crazy on that end. And yes, Mr. Matthew Wayne Selznick hosts our website, and we thank him very much for taking care of us for a very long time. A very, very long time. Also, you should go get one of his books. Do it now. Go get Brave Men Run. Go do it. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. First episode stuff. Yes. Sorry.
Expand on that first episode. Expand on, because people listening can't necessarily see what's over on the side.
Oh, this is true. Yeah, I should do that. Happy anniversary, gang. Still remember the first episode. Lots to talk about video games, as I recall, and a shout out to Mer Lafferty for inspiring the creation of the show in the first place.
I saw her at the Nebula conference and thanked her personally for inspiring us to create this show.
Yeah. It's funny how, writing excuses was pretty much my big break into that kind of show. And that was when I was thinking about coming back to writing. My year lost in the wilderness, where I was getting to the point where I finally discovered Scott Sigler. I discovered all these other things. And then, my wife was like, when are you going to start doing this? So everything has changed in a big way, because through that, I found you guys. And then Ryan made the mistake of asking me on the show to talk about horror. And then you guys kept having me on as a repeat guest. And then finally I ended up on the show. So it's like everything's just this huge transformation of how things have changed over the last year. Somebody was talking about remembering me gushing about the Black Laws writing it. And finally I ended up on the show. And that's kind of terrifying in and of itself. And somebody's echoing.
That's me. Sorry.
Yes, I'm checking it now. I think I'm still muted.
Are you all still muted?
Yeah, I'm still muted.
I don't believe it. I don't believe for a second. Somebody mentioned on here one of their favorite episodes was the brainstorming episode for Stillwater.
That was a fun one.
That was a fun one.
Brainstorming episodes are always fun to do because we get to expand our creativity into other people's turf and have them just throw out ideas for us to just wildly run all over and explore.
Yeah, and I think that's been a staple. And I think Terry and I are both in agreement we need to do those more often. So we're working on getting that schedule together at some point. If somebody will do their job.
Hey, I'm not responsible for scheduling brainstorming episodes. Those were yours, pal.
Wait a minute. Yours, okay. I can put out the poll. Not the dancing poll. I can put out the poll.
The dancing poll. Everyone knows it.
But you're the one with the schedule. You're the one who's supposed to be scheduling.
Right. You're absolutely right. But until you do the poll to have more people pitch ideas, then I don't have anybody to schedule.
No, this is true. This is true. All right, fine. I'll put up a new Facebook poll.
Make sure they keep it pithy this time since, it's, really long. The poll item can only have so many items on it.
Yeah, try and keep it under 1,000 words, guys. God. Devin, no. Do not. Paul's Perilous Poll. Yeah, this is exactly what I expect from our listeners. I've seen you guys in the comments. I know exactly how you speak.
Somebody is on Facebook right now creating a poll with all kinds of embarrassing things about you, Paul.
That's okay. I have admin results. I will delete that shit.
Now, we definitely need to do more brainstorming episodes because those are always fun to do. Just wildly exploring the creative side is a lot of what excites us as writers. Even if it's not our own work, we still love exploring ideas and concepts.
David, have you ever been on the show for a brainstorming episode?
No, the closest was when we did the Cooley makeover session where we were talking about rebranding your stuff. And this was back before the black and things like that.
Yep.
And so basically we got on there and told you everything you were doing wrong.
Did he change anything? I can't remember.
Yes. He did, but it didn't help because our advice was shitty.
Because what's so shitty?
Our advice was terrible.
Jesus.
No, actually, you came out. We had some really nice cover rebrands and things like that. The issue was just the nature of Garaga with the mashup, the difficulty in placing it in a commercial genre and things like that. And so we at least nudged you toward writing some series.
Yeah, you and Terry, evil bastards.
Now you've got what, like 20 books on your schedule?
Oh, God.
All 200,000 words long.
Hey, no.
He's moved up from there. It's about 250 to 300,000 now.
Oh, damn it. Why do I sign up for this abuse?
Cooley Shrugged, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3.
Oh, that's bad. That is bad. That is very bad. You see, this is what's funny. When I started this show, I started on this show, I was lucky to write 80,000 word novel. Now I'm up to basically writing one contiguous story that's so far 310,000 words and growing.
So once you got surrounded by people telling you to write shorter novels, you were like, the hell with you guys, I'm writing long ones?
No, not on purpose. I think my ability to tell a longer story has evolved. I think it's just a matter of telling the stories that I wanted to tell, adding these kind of details and everything else. It's been fun. I mean, these are much more plot-centric books, but they're fun. They're fun to write and everything else. But I probably would not be writing those books if I hadn't been constantly bombarded by Justin, Terry, and other people to, kind of break out of that comfort zone and go after something a little different. So. It's another way of saying this show has been awesome for my career. It's been awesome for the friendships, and it's been awesome to meet you lunatics. There.
It's funny. Early on, when I listened to podcasts, it was Dragon Page, I Should Be Writing, and you guys. And I sort of idolized all you guys, and not anymore.
Boy, we screwed that up for you, didn't we?
Yes.
I had this, I'm like, ooh, I said, when I've really arrived, those are the podcasts I want to be on. And obviously, Dragon Page went away. I Should Be Writing is more trad pub focused, and I'm not. But I've been on your show many, many times. So I've fulfilled 1/3 of my fantasy there.
Sue says Paul's learned how to tell.
It was not what I hoped it would be.
What now, David?
Sue was saying that Paul has learned how to tell a longer story while simultaneously forgetting how to write an ending.
Works for Stephen King.
Oh, God. Let's not go there. Now,
yes,
look,
we're going to
this is completely unfair.
Lord of the Rings today.
You do what now?
We're going to discuss Lord of the Rings and Stephen King endings today. Go.
Oh, wow.
Can we combine them? Because I think that would make an awesome book.
As chat goes nuclear. As we lose all of our listeners by pissing everybody off.
I just want to make sure we have enough content.
Oh, you want to make sure we have enough content.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't think we're in any danger of running out of things to say.
No, are we ever? Are we ever? I want to make a statement here for those of you who've not read The Black. All 3 of those books have endings. So bite my shiny metal ass. There.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Oh, yes. I'm so glad. We're getting asked about redoing the website. We're figuring that out. When do we get away from Patreon to support DRS directly? When I get the time and fortitude to do it, because it's not going to be easy. I'm probably going to get John Miro to come on the show and talk about how he did it. I need to go back through how he did things. Wix, Squarespace is not going to work. Trust me. We have to post episodes, and it's going to be a huge pain in the ass to use something like that. So there. And those really aren't the deal. We just need to burn down our WordPress and start over.
Yeah, I'm afraid that we were talking about not only having the DRS webpage updated, but also doing our own web pages. Because, writers, we're writers and we just don't update our own web pages. That's how it works. It all looks like it's from the 90s.
I update mine every week.
I didn't mean content-wise. I meant style-wise.
Yeah, content. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I overhauled mine not too long ago, but now with the shutdown of Kindle Worlds, I've got something like 15 novels and novellas and stories to republish, and I got to redo the pages or the page on my site with all those and blend them into different series and things like that. So I'm always a little bit behind on that stuff.
How long does that take you if you have to update that many books? What's the process?
It all depends. In this case, we're going to re-release them all, and each one is getting a new pass from me because some of them I had no involvement in, some I had modest involvement in. So we're going to be making a new pass over it. It's going to get an edit. Most of them are going to have some new content added, and then we're going to relaunch. A lot of them are going to get new covers, so it's pretty major undertaking.
It seems like I really wish there was a way, and I think I said this before. I wish Amazon and all these vendors had a way where you could basically say, here's the all my other shit page, and you could automatically combine them and basically change it, have it insert all that shit across. It wouldn't be that difficult from API standpoint as a developer. It should be possible. I wish they'd get off their asses and make that happen. Because that's a huge pain in the ass. I know Terry drives Donna nuts by having her have to go back there and change a lot of that stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh,
or if you're trying to list them all in your books, like keeping your links up to date in all your ebooks, especially if you're wide, that can be a big pain. But I don't do that with every new release. It's just too many books out there. So I've got
to the point now. Yeah, with that, what we discussed doing for mine is now I'm going to only update the links in the series that I'm producing a new book in, and only in the most recent book in that series. Yeah. So, yeah.
I don't know how many readers make it all the way to the list of books by. I think they see whatever invitation you put before the end. But once Kindle in particular pops up that new screen trying to sell you some new stuff, I don't know how often people close it out and continue to swipe through your back matter. So I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Summers Wilson says Draft to Digital has that. I was not aware.
Mm.
One of these days, Amazon's going to make it so that you can auto-insert your updated list of titles in there. It's the future, baby.
Cool.
It's the future.
Speaking of talking about Kindle World and Draft to Digital, when the announcement came down about Kindle World shutting down, I'm friends with a lot of people who are Kindle World quote unquote owners, and some of them reached out to Draft to Digital saying, "Hey, is there any way you can handle split co-author payments?" Because a lot of them didn't have their own publishing house set up already and weren't interested in doing what I'm doing. And Draft to Digital is like, well, it's a great idea, but we don't have time to get all that ready. But Bundle Rabbit has something like that. But basically, that's something in the market. That's an opportunity there. If somebody had full distribution and could handle co-author split payments, that's an opportunity there in the market that we hope, will come about.
I'm really surprised Amazon hasn't already done that.
Yeah.
That's
there's a lot of things they haven't done right now.
No, there's a lot of things they haven't done that they should be doing. That goes without saying. Bastards. There, I said it.
We should have the gentleman from Bundle Rabbit back on again. It's been a couple of years.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I haven't looked at that site in forever. I forget stuff like that.
Yeah, they still have their bundle thing, but they also apparently offer a co-author type thing. It has, I think it might have a slightly different program name or something, but I do know the opportunity is there.
We talked about where, we were on there and you just kind of facetiously where the show would be in 10 years. Where do you see yourself being in a few years, Paul?
In a rocking chair on my front porch with my huge medicinal bong, just kind of talking into my phone and screaming at it while all the YouTube live stuff goes up.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to help your productivity.
But it will help his happiness. Now, are you moving back to Colorado for the legalized recreational?
It'll be recreational everywhere by then. It'll be medicinal in my case anyway. Insanity. That's what I'll be diagnosed with. Anyway.
I am handicapped. I'm psychotic.
Yes, thank you for that Johnny Dangerously quote. Words are difficult to say, Paul. Words are difficult. I hopefully will have 10 years. Wow. I don't even think
I only want a couple of years. No one can forecast what's going to be going on in their life on anything in 10 years. So I'm saying in a couple of years, where do you see yourself?
In a couple of years. Having 3 series completely finished and hopefully a couple of solo books and then probably 2 more series.
That's all boring. Tell us about what's going to be going on with Jelly Gator NATO.
I'm not writing Jelly Gator NATO. Not anytime soon, anyway.
I've heard that the new Jurassic Park is pretty much Jelly Gator NATO, that it's descended to that level of storytelling.
One of the reviews I saw compared it to Sharknado.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that Jurassic World stole that from him just like the street got stolen by Sesame Street?
Yep.
Really? He's being robbed. Have you checked your house for bugs? Because somebody's stealing your shit.
Never. No one's stealing my shit. I think by then, in a couple of years, we will, hopefully be around the bend, and hopefully I'll have a pretty good income by then. Just hopefully get my feet under me and be able to rock it forward. But there's some bigger books I want to tackle. There's some fun stuff I want to do. I made a list of short novels I want to write last night. Probably 50 to 70,000 words. And shut up, Terry.
Are they standalones?
Yes.
Oh, damn it.
Epic novellas.
No, standalone. 3 of them are standalones in the Soul and Beyond universe. So people who read Derelict.
So yes and no. Okay.
So
Jared Hanley says that I should leave Jurassic World alone, but he's just bitter because Stargate Universe sucked.
Oh, wow. It was a fun popcorn movie for a drizzly day. Yeah, there we go again. The critics are going to blast it, comparing it to Sharknado. Other people are just going to have a good time. Welcome to the way it is. Like, for instance, I went to see Hereditary. I think it was last week. Yeah, last week, which has been billed as one of the, best horror movies ever. Went and saw it. After I saw a whole bunch of people bitching about how it was not a horror movie and that they hated it. And a moment that we walked out of the theater, I knew why. You either get it or you don't. And it's not a matter of getting it makes you superior. It's just a question of, did you understand what the movie was doing? Because it's very, very fluid storytelling. I'd love to try my hand at writing something like that, but half the people will dislike it. Half the people might like it.
It sort of reminds me when my friends dragged me out to see Army of Darkness, and I did not want to go. They had to drag me pretty much kicking and screaming to the theater because I didn't want to see a horror movie. And they wanted to, and I loved it, and they all hated it. It was great.
Yeah. It's just like books, man. You'll say there's people who love Tolkien, think I'm just completely out of my mind for not liking Tolkien. And these are the same people who hate my favorite Stephen King books. So there's no right or wrong. There's just you either like it or you don't. Like Terry won't read horror. Wuss.
Only because I was poisoned into thinking that horror is all blood.
Yes. But
just because of the time frame that I grew up. I'll read things that are labeled as suspense, supernatural suspense, whatever. It's all in the phrasing and the marketing. Mm-hmm. I can live with reading those things, but if I hear the word horror, I can't get all over Friday the 13th. Sorry.
What about you, David? What do you think of when you think horror?
I think Stephen King novels, and I do think of the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and things like that. Although my wife and daughters are into horror movies, so we actually do watch stuff regularly that's a much greater variety. But those are still the things that horror. And Devin wants to know, Paul, what is your favorite Stephen King book on that note?
What
are your favorites?
That's a very difficult question to answer, as I put in there. I would say that favorites are Salem's Lot. I would say Tommyknockers and Needful Things, and The Shining.
Salem's Lot is the vampire book,
yes.
Isn't it?
Like his second novel.
I think that I may have actually read that one. I think we were assigned a book early on by Justin, and I believe that one was it. Because I've read that particular story.
Actually, I assigned it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes.
Someone did it. My memory is faulty.
Yes, your memory is faulty. And once again, Terry didn't care for it.
It was an okay story. It dragged on and on and on.
That's not one of his longer books.
There was a ton of needless description in there. He felt like, and this doorknob was described over 17 paragraphs and 14 pages. Oh my God! Shut up.
Are you sure you weren't reading Robert Jordan?
Yeah, or who's that other hack who does
Brandon Sanderson?
I don't know.
But I like Stephen King novels, but some of his favorite stuff, some of my favorites of his are his short stories.
Yes,
like The Long Walk. And
that's not a short story. The Long Walk.
That's a novella. Okay, okay.
It would be a short story for Paul.
Yes. But his shorter stuff, Rage, is a fantastic
which you will never find in print again.
Yeah.
Ever. If you don't know what that is, you need to go look it up. So you just need
I like a lot of his shorter works.
Yeah. All the ones that the movies were made out of, good or ill.
Yeah.
Terry, where do you think you're going to be in a couple of years?
The last year has seen a lot more success in my career than I expected to see. A good chunk of that came because I teamed up with an author that's got a significantly larger audience that actually overlaps mine. And it'll be interesting to see in a couple of years. I hope that my career continues an upward trajectory, but I think it's at the point now that it's going to continue to be successful as long as I keep producing decent stories. So I hope in 2 years to actually have roughly 30 novels out. That's my goal. I want to try to get to the point where I'm producing about 8 novels a year.
Yeah.
That's my target.
You're nuts.
Because production is the only thing I, as a person, can control. I can do the things that I need to do to write more. I can't control how well they're received. I can't control whether people like them and buy them, but I can control how many of them I produce. So that's my goal, is to be more productive.
I think that's all of our goals, except for David Wood, because he's sitting back there in his publisher mansion, just chilling.
Yep, I am James Patterson light. I'm not literally light, just metaphorically.
Oh, we're just going to pull out all the old dummies to beat up today. Gotcha.
Yeah. But no, I see myself, in a few years still managing the empire. And because I've got, I had been trying to limit the number of co-authors and steering new people toward Kindle World. But now that that's not an option, I might open the doors for more people to write in my universe. And the readers have generally been okay with me saying, look, I've barely touched this particular book. I'm putting it out under my label, but I'm not putting my name on this particular one because I just kind of read over it and gave some feedback. So that might be a way where I'm still going to write a couple Matic books a year, or a Matic something else, collaborate with Alan on the 2 series we have going, and then just kind of let people play in some of my universes and see where it goes.
Sounds like I know Doc Savage is coming out soon, so you better get that second book in your Doc Savage
that one is going
done.
That is my warm-up every day. So I say every day that I actually write, I write an 8-minute sprint on that and then move on to something else. Because as much as I like it, it's sold like 3,000 copies lifetime, and it's difficult to justify.
I know
putting that much work into it. So it's a pleasure project. I've had the artwork done for like a year and a half already. Because my artist, she does such amazing pulp artwork. I mean, the Arena of Souls cover is by far my favorite cover of all of my stuff. She's fantastic. So yeah, someday that'll come out. We'll see.
Do you think that now that Kindle Worlds has gone away, that a lot of the other writers like you and Terry and whatnot, they're doing these collaborations, how are y'all going to handle that? How are you going to handle all the calls for talent? How are you going to handle the income splits? How are you going to handle all that?
Most of the authors I know are not bothering with it all. They're just telling the writers, sorry, I hate that this happened. Feel free to go in and remove all the references to my universe and publish it as your own little book, which obviously that's doomed to failure because it's the brand name that sells the book.
Right.
A few of them are still exploring options, but they really don't want to put the work in that I'm going to have to put in to keep this going. But yeah, a lot of them are just saying, I'm sorry, Kindle screwed you over because it was supposed to be a 10-year contract. And
wow.
It's not.
Wow.
I believe it was 10. It was either 10 or 7. I'd have to go back and look at my contract. But yeah, a lot of these co-authors put in the work thinking they would have 7 to 10 years of income coming in. And no, pull the rug out from under them.
That's one of the things about publishing with one or just a couple of large publishers is they decide to change the rules and you're pretty much stuck with it.
Well, when a service is complete, well, if a publishing company folds, you're screwed. If you're in one of these programs and Amazon changes the rules, you're screwed, potentially, depending on what they do with the rules. But if they do something that's not in your favor, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I mean, we've heard so many horror stories over the last 3 or 4 years of people who were with small publishers who weren't handling the books right or whatever, and they just completely cratered, or they got bought by somebody else who ran them into the ground. So it's one of those situations where I'm not really sure whom to trust half the time, and not sure who, I trust my publisher, but I'm saying when somebody comes to me and says, what about X? I'm like, I don't know anything about them. And even if I did, you need to go find some authors who work with them and published with them to find out what's going on so you don't get screwed. But, look at Amazon just basically screwed David and all these other folks that were using Kindle Worlds for it. So yeah, Bermuda Press, as Devin Lee brings up. Yes, a lot of people got screwed in that.
Then you've got the thing going on in the traditional world where they've had that one large publisher take the hit because of the embezzlement of an accountant. That story is not done yet.
No.
That agent is going to end up going under because they're not going to be able to pay the authors what was taken from them. And I suspect that that's going to spur new laws in New York covering the operation of agencies that is going to reveal a lot more of this nonsense that has been going on for decades that no one's been looking at. There is a seismic explosion about to take place in the traditional publishing world based on that. And combine that with all of the publishers that just continue to combine their publishing imprints and grow larger into corporations. They're not as loss tolerant as those kind of publishers used to be. So there isn't a middle ground for authors. There's no mid-list authors really left in traditional publishing, not as something you can make a living at anyway.
Or that middle ground is I think it's still there for some. I just know that my friends who have made the mid-lists are in hell. If it's like if you break out a mid-list and you get up to that top ring, then the rules change quite a bit. But very few people make it there. But I don't know how much longer that top end is going to be around.
It's population of that top end is dying off. They're not young either.
No. You were saying, David?
It's eye-opening to see those few upper mid-list authors who share their numbers every year, their income numbers, because you would think that some of these people are making a lot more money than they are. They're well-known, have a big catalog, have a good platform, and you find that they're making very little money. Their advances are modest. Their royalties are minimal. Some fairly big names are needing Patreon just to keep going, and some are doing Patreon and TradPub and still have the day job, often just because of health insurance. But
yeah,
it's really
health insurance is
something.
a big deal. Yes. So it would not surprise me. And yeah, Terry, you're right. I think the writers our age are going to try more things, but the folks who are later in their careers, once they're gone, that's going to leave some pretty big holes.
One of the interesting things that I saw when I was at the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America's Nebula Conference earlier was how interested a number of trade pubbed authors were about what was going on in the indie world. It's becoming a lot more interesting to them how they can become hybrid authors and continue to doing what they're doing while putting their foot into the other pond because they're not satisfied with what they're making there either.
And also the thing is that from what I'm seeing anyway, what I'm hearing, more and more authors are holding on to their audio rights and willing to go to fight for them.
A lot of publishers are saying, we're not going to make a deal with you at all unless we get the audio rights.
Yeah, that's the other side, is a lot of publishers have picked up on that, and they're kind of moving in lockstep. They're not necessarily acting as a monopoly, but they're aware of the terms that their competitors are offering and trying to keep them consistent. I think it was Michael Sullivan who went ahead and sold his audio rights first because he knew how freaking much money he could get for them. Mm-hmm. And then when he went around and said, look, audio rights are gone, but I've got this great series. And I think he did have to go back and indie publish them because nobody would take them. But he still felt it was worthwhile because of the big deal he was able to cut in audio.
Yeah, he that's exactly what he did. And as a matter of fact, we've got him scheduled to come on the show early next month to talk about writing fantasy. And I would be shocked if that did not come up in some form or another during the conversation.
I can guarantee you it will.
But the funny thing is, I know authors who basically felt that they had to sell their audio rights, but their publisher didn't exploit them and wouldn't release them. And so they're sitting there with no audio, and the publisher's like, well, we're not going to do anything with it, but no, you can't have your rights back.
Yeah. Isn't that why one of the New York publishers got so excited? Oh, yes, ebooks. Books will never go out of print. So authors will never get their rights back. It's like, what the fuck?
Another thing that we've talked about before with that is now traditionally publishing companies, what they're doing with the intellectual property is using them on their books to counterbalance the debt that they've got And so they are value on their books, whether they do anything with them or not. And they're making them into hugely valuable things for them. And that's going to have unexpected impact on all authors, because once you start having those high valuations for a book that you wrote, say you sold 100 copies of it when you wrote it, then suddenly you've died and your spouse is going to inherit it. And there's going to be this huge income valuation on that intellectual property. When that starts playing out, it's going to become a zoo.
Yeah, it's all going to become a zoo. So we were saying nothing is changing in publishing, and yet here come all these disruptions. And the disruptions, I mean, the law of unintended consequences means that things are going to get really interesting. For instance, if Derelict starts selling more on, because I'm going wide than it does on Amazon, then there's no reason for me to be exclusive with Amazon anymore for any of my other titles. There's no reason. If it starts bringing in the same amount of money or more every month, then there's no reason to go Amazon exclusive, and I'll dump them. I'm okay with that. I'll keep the entire Black Saga will stay as Audible exclusive, Amazon exclusive, but I'll move all the audio out.
And I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm having so much success by being exclusive that I would harm myself financially if I went wide, unless Amazon did something to screw me over.
Well, that's
which I hope doesn't happen.
That's because your audiobooks are exclusive.
Mercy.
I mean, that's why the Black sold so well.
Not even just the audiobooks. I was referring to the whole package rather than just the audiobooks. You're still selling more audiobooks than I am, although I'm catching up.
Yeah, we'll see how well you catch up after Destruction comes out and sells 700 units in the first 2 months.
You know what's interesting, though? Friends of mine who don't sell nearly as well as I sell are cutting pretty decent audio deals for new series with places like Podium or Direct to Audible and things like that. And it makes me wonder, if I do launch a new series, if perhaps I should try pitching it. Or maybe, Paul, like in your case, you have an established track record of audio sales. If you do something new, maybe it's worth at least, going fishing and seeing if you could interest Audible or somebody like that, because I'm hearing more and more that they're buying up properties now and paying pretty well for it.
If only they would say, "Hey, Paul, we want to make the Black into an Amazon TV show, or we want to make a Derelict into."
Do they do tentacle porn?
Yes, they do tentacle porn. Everybody does tentacle porn.
All right.
If you write tasteful tentacle porn. Okay.
Can you recommend some titles for that?
Of the day.
Or did you mean tasty tentacle porn?
I said tasteful tentacle porn. Then it will find an audience on Netflix or Amazon. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. They'll grab it up. Everybody loves tentacle porn.
I like that. Tentacle porn. Grab up. That's very clever.
This is starting to feel like the bar at Balticon.
That's every show we do. What are you talking about?
You know what I'm interested in doing going forward? I keep looking at my schedule for the rest of the year, and I keep finding ways to move that Lit RPG book further up. So I think it may actually be the next one I write, because I can't get it out of my head.
You're not the only one with that problem. You're not the only one with that problem. QPD is really screaming at me. Quantum personality disorder just really wants to be written, and it's driving me nuts.
Is your autobiography or memoir?
No, not exactly. My combination of 2001 meets Silence of the Lambs. It sounds bad. It will be good. I promise. Tentacle pornado? Tentacle pornado. Yeah. All right then. To make tasteful tentacle porn like Monster Whisperer. I have never listened to Monster Whisperer. I guess I should do that at some point. Is it tasteful tentacle porn?
Devin Lee is telling me that I need to be very careful with Lit RPG because the fan base is so damn picky. This is totally true. I've been listening to about 4 or 5 different series, and I've been while I've not been an online gamer, I've been a gamer for about 30 years. So constructing the whole idea of a fantasy world with people in it, it's going to be interesting trying to transverse that into doing it in a way that's like expanding on online video gaming. But I think I can make that work. If it doesn't work, oh well, it's an experiment that failed. That's what happens sometimes.
There's a small segment of lit RPG that's open to a lot of different things. Another small segment that's fairly welcoming, but there's a big segment that only wants one very narrow type of lit RPG, and they will bomb you with 1-star reviews and do all kinds of stuff. If you're not writing precisely their narrow definition of lit RPG, they'll accuse you of using the name to capitalize. And then there's that one guy who claims to be the father of American lit RPG, since lit RPG was in use before he started writing, and he's got his sycophants who will attack other authors. So it's a really weird subgenre. But if you can get your foot in and Kindle Unlimited doesn't close your account, you can do pretty well in it.
Well, I hope they don't close my account, and I'm sorry that they messed with you.
Yeah.
And we'll see whether or not what I write does any good or not. Who knows?
Supposedly, the latest thing they're saying is that they will remove their so-called illegitimate page reads, but they're not going to close any more accounts. But I am still way too paranoid to ever go back into it. I say ever, not anytime soon. I'm not ready to dip that back in, because, you know, twice now. Once they warned me, and I have no idea what was going on, and then they suspended the account. So I'm really afraid to. But in both cases, it was related to lit RPG books. We're almost certain. So there are some people who are concerned that that same segment of Gamergate type lit RPG readers and writers might be some of the ones who are hiring the click farms to screw over the authors who aren't writing exactly what they like.
Wow, that doesn't make me feel at all nervous.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's speculation with only a little bit of evidence behind it. Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot.
I don't believe it.
Okay.
I've been looking through here at all the crazy comments we've been getting. It's funny how folks have different. Oh, note to self: stay away from lit RPG. Here's a question for you two guys. If and this I consider this genre pretty fledgling. Am I wrong in saying that? I mean, people have always been writing these books, but as a genre, isn't it just
already carved out a pretty
new thing? I'm sorry, you broke up on me. What?
It's already carved out a place for itself, though. It's fairly new compared to others, but it's you know, these authors have gotten a toehold in there. And
okay,
there's
do you think
pretty devoted readership.
Do you think that genre is actually going to change in time? And do you think, how do you think it's going to change, or do you have an opinion?
I have heard from at least one author that there is a game RPG that's kind of breaking off of lit RPG that is going to be more related to things like tabletop gaming and stuff like that. That's not going to be quite as intractable as the people who think it has to be just like playing a video game. You have to see the characters leveling up as you read the story and things like that.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, it's not for me, but that's, like I said, a lot of people feel that's the only thing that lit RPG is, that you're like playing a video game in novel form. You're experiencing people living through a video game. And so from a couple authors, I've heard that game RPG is becoming a thing, and that it's a little more flexible. So my guess is that it'll slowly expand and maybe even get some other subgenre names. It'll have its own subgenres within the gaming RPG genre as a whole. That would be my guess anyway.
So it's a risk if you don't write exactly what these groups are looking for to jump into that field. That's sad.
Yeah. But, you know, that's not, I'm always a little negative and cynical. So
no, really?
I know it's hard to believe. Don't change your business plan just because of me. But I'll always be the one to give you reasons to worry.
If we're gonna get stuck in so when is Uno the book coming out? You know, the Uno Lit RPG or Munchkin. Munchkin. I want to be stuck in Munchkin land. That would be fun as hell. If you don't know what Munchkin is, go look it up. Steve Jackson is an effing genius.
We need old school Atari RPG.
Oh wow.
Pitfall RPG.
Pitfall art. Oh, Space Invaders RPG. Oh wait, I'm writing that. That is just terrifying. The very concept is so bizarre to me, and yet it makes perfect sense at the same time.
Oh, I want to write electric football RPG. Remember the little plastic guys that ran around on the vibrating board? That can be the new version of the Rider and the Galactic Football League, the electric football. Oh, that'll be awesome. Let's write that.
That would just be so my head hurts just thinking about that. I don't even know how to begin that story.
You got the quarterback and he's going in circles and it'll be amazing.
And then he gets hit by a Cheeto.
Yeah. And the fans are just little army men and Barbies lined up along the side.
Oh my God. Oh, that's terrible. I could see this happening. That's the sad part. 500 episodes, Terry.
500.
We're talking about electric football.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about electric football. Is there a favorite show of yours? One that sticks out in your head?
I'm old. I'm lucky I remember what we talked about last week.
Will you just start taking your ginkgo biloba and get on with it? Your geritol?
Is that for your knees?
Wow.
If I had to look back and think about what my favorite episode is, I couldn't tell you. It's just looking back at the show as a whole, it's been a tremendous experience. I can't pluck my favorite moment out of that. It's too mixed up. It's too all mixed together.
It's really hard to even make that call because the show has changed a lot since I started. Same with Terry, even more so for Terry. But the last, I don't know, 2 years, we made a really big change, and it gets confusing for me sometimes trying to look back. It's like there's 3 different periods of DRS for me. And I have a favorite show somewhere in those 3, or for each of those 3 periods.
I'd have to scroll back through the whole catalog just because I've been listening since almost the beginning.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Ugh. Yikes.
But yeah,
look what it's done to you. Now you live out in the middle of nowhere as a prepper, and you've gone and lost your mind. And I blame the show.
See, I'm screwed because the one thing we don't have here is water. I've got the privacy and the weapons and things like that, but water is at a premium. The electricity goes out and I can't power my well, I'm in trouble.
If you can't, I'm shocked.
Okay.
I'm very shocked. So let's see. Devin says the podcast went 500 episodes, but peaked in the first 100. Wow.
No, we've already established it was the first 200. Come on now.
Fucking ouch. And now he's singing It's Been a While. You bastard. Thank you, Roland.
All true.
Yeah, all true. So what are we going to do for the next 500 episodes, Terry?
I suspect we're going to continue to do, for at least the next good long while, what we're doing now, as far as keeping the show being a conversation between writers about what they're doing and bringing in other people to talk about subjects that we think are interesting. The listeners are going to have to tell us what they're looking for as far as topics, because our tastes are kind of eclectic when it comes to topics. Whatever's important to us when we're doing our writing tends to end up being what we're talking about that day.
Now, somebody asked if, I think I addressed this in 502, which hasn't come out yet, but someone asked this, or made the comment that the show has gotten very science fiction heavy. And it's very easy to tell why that is, because we're both writing science fiction right now. So that's why, my brain is completely stuck on that side of things. And sometimes it's hard to claw back to it, get out of that rut. And I guarantee you, when I start writing something like Tony Downs, science fiction will be like in the back somewhere, because I'll be busy, writing again here. So I'll be writing in the here and now, as opposed to 500 years from now. Or from under what
they're throwing in ideas there of things we need to do more of there. William West says that he loves the book club style reviews, but I'm sorry, bud, you're in the minority. Most people didn't seem to care for that particular episode so much.
I have thought about, and maybe I will do it. We talked about it a little bit. There was a little bit of pushback, but if y'all really, really want that, then what I'll do is Terry was too lazy, but I'll write a review or post a review once a month on something that I've read for you guys, if that's what you want. This kind of depends, but I'll have to be some interest in it. Romance, bring on romance authors. What kind of show is this? Who the hell in this show reads romance?
I am totally thinking of, you doing a show about the Derelict Saga, but instead have the Love Boat theme going in the background.
That would be incredibly awesome. That would be incredibly awesome. The Love Boat. To see all these creatures just flying out of it. All right, get on that, David Wood. You make that happen.
Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah, business and marketing. That's something that has been higher in there. I think we're going to have somebody come on and talk about advertising. Business has become a larger part of what we do as writers, and we're paying more attention to it now. So we definitely talk about it more. And we're paying attention to all the other things that you're saying in there as well, folks.
Yeah, we are.
More Brony and Sailor Cooley memes. That's obviously important.
Yeah, get on that. Get on that.
Yeah, I've been slack with the Sailor Cooley stuff. Oh, man.
Sailor Terry, man. Make that happen.
So what are your favorite memories or moments throughout the history of the show? Even just little things. Like when Justin
yank up his shirt and twist his nipples at us when no one could see anything because we were audio only.
I remember when he got his Zoom recorder mixed up with someone else's at Balticon and came home with a set of entirely different panels than the ones he had actually recorded. I don't know why that sticks in my mind.
Did you ever find out who's had his recorder?
Just inadvertently swapped recorders with somebody else.
We have.
You can see the other person now. What the hell?
The first episode where I hosted, Justin, the son of a bitch, let me get 3 words into the intro before he started talking right over me. Broke my focus, broke my concentration. I can't remember I don't know if he started singing or what it was. I don't remember what it was, but he broke me completely. And Terry was like, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. And for the first few episodes, I had to wait to see if he was going to do it. He had me so gun shy with it. He was such a dick.
And then after you waited, he'd jump in and get you.
Yeah. And then after I waited, yeah, he would go crazy. So it's very, very funny how little things like that kind of stick around with you. There's been the pre-show that y'all didn't used to hear, except for those of you on Patreon who hear it every week. It used to be even crazier than it is now.
And by crazier, he means raunchy, because Justin brought in the worst of all of us.
Yes. Justin was Justin. But yeah, those times when we were talking before we even did the show, were awesome and are awesome because we get a chance to catch up. We get a chance to talk off show about some things that we may not necessarily want to talk on the show. And those were great because we had the opportunity to basically get our shit done before we started talking about our thoughts on doing shit. So it's kind of a good trade-off. And Terry and I've kind of fallen into that routine as well. you know what, the big thing is our chance to, this show every week is our chance to get together and babble to one another. So sometimes we'll be talking about something and it will stray into an hour-long conversation, and then pretty soon it's like, well, I guess this is the episode.
That's happened a few times. Yeah.
It's happened a few times. So yeah, we apologize when that happens. But
so I'm scrolling through the archive, and episode 345, corporate whores and Amazon bitches.
I believe I titled that one.
Yes. And now who's Amazon exclusive in this conversation?
My publisher.
Okay.
Why haven't you written that novel, Paul? Corporate whores. I think
Whores.
you should write that.
I think
people have been saying you need to write romance. There you go. You can write romance, erotica, and give it to the man too while you're at it.
Oh, God. I have plenty of stories to write about corporations.
That would totally be the perfect episode where you could, or the perfect novel you could introduce pegging in.
Wow. Wow. I got nothing.
Sorry, went over the line there.
What brought this topic to mind?
Corporate whores. Just the title just invokes all these thoughts.
Yes, Devin.
I noticed Terry winced as he shifted in his seat.
Corporate whores, another breaker story. Ooh. Good point, Kip. Good point. Hadn't thought about that. A 2x4 and a 50-gallon drum of KY lube. Didn't Dustin say that one time?
Yes. Yes, he did.
How did you writing down his things all along? He said so much stuff.
Oh my God.
And the stuff he said on the air was nothing compared to what he would say in private.
Yeah.
That's true of all of us.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, those were some of my favorite moments when we had those kinds of conversations. And
yeah, usually for the show that goes out, that part gets cut out. Those comments usually never make it in.
Yeah, even for the patrons, every once in a while I have to do some cutting. But yeah, well, usually it's more because each of us is throwing out spoilers left and right, and I have to get that shit out of there. So, you know, the people don't see it. Because we had complaints that we were spoiling people. So no more of that. No more inside information. Right, Terry?
We'll see.
Whichever Empire Bones book has the pegging in it. Sorry, people. Didn't mean to spoil you.
Pegging in a combat suit. I'm trying to figure out how this would work. You know what? Never mind. We're going to drop this topic altogether because we don't want an erotica brainstorm. Good idea.
I think folks are pretty safe, though. That's not going to be in one of the Empire novels.
There was an episode.
Well, it has bones in it.
There was an
you have bones in it.
There's an episode called In Defense of Twilight.
Yeah, Justin's wife got on his case or something. I don't remember if she was actually one of the guests or if he was just relaying some points that she made. But yeah, there was a like, look, it's easy to pick on Twilight, but it does have some value in terms of bringing in readers, and not everything she does is bad. Maybe it's not, kind of like a Dan Brown type thing where she's definitely onto something. She's pushing some buttons, and maybe you can learn from it and improve on it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm still going to make fun of sparkly vampires, though. Just no. But then again, I make fun of Anne Rice vampires, too. So there you go. I like the vampires from The Strain. That's much more my idea of vampires.
Well, we've been here a little bit more than an hour. We should go ahead and try to corral this into a closing on this. The first 500 episodes of the show were a tremendous experience. And who can say what we're going to look like in 100 episodes, in 250 episodes, in 500 episodes? We're going to continue to keep growing. I know that the show has turned in a lot of ways into like a stream of consciousness of us as writers, what we're looking at in that particular moment. we do need to mix in new things as we're going along, but it's going to continue to be something that Paul and I, whatever's got our interest for the week is going to be a big part of what we're talking about. We'll just have to find a way to spice that up and continue to change as we become stronger writers, more experienced writers, and as we're learning things as we go along.
Yeah, we'll keep going. Things have changed a lot because of some changes we're going through anyway. And of course, in some ways, the situation early at the year kind of threw both of us off because we had plans and they kind of all got shut to shit. So we're trying to get some stuff off the ground. We'll keep listening to you guys and see what you want to do, and we'll try our best to make it entertaining for you as much as possible and informative.
And has Terry finished renovating his house yet?
Not a chance. See all those boxes that are still not unpacked?
Not unpacked?
We still haven't unpacked from when we had to do the flooring downstairs. So that's going to happen eventually.
That's the thing you still haven't done yet?
You know, unpacking is a terrible thing.
Oh my God.
What you do is you leave the boxes for a year, and if you haven't needed anything inside them, you just throw them away and don't even look.
You know, I was going to tell my wife that, but she doesn't agree.
Oh, well.
There's no accounting for taste, Terry.
Yep, that is the way it goes. All right, folks, let's go ahead and go ahead.
Right. I was going to say the best thing to do would be for you guys to buy the houses on either side of me, and we have our own little writer colony out here. And then it's super easy to record every week with no weed eaters.
That would be great. That would be awesome. Before we go, Devin Lee said he wouldn't have been able to publish his first novel without us. We are ridiculous at times, but we're doing incredible service. Thank you, Devin. Your check's in the mail. Drew, if it wasn't for the show, I would not have finished Cone of Silence, would not have published a novel right now. So big thanks, guys. Another check coming for you. William West, thank you for putting on the show. And thanks to all your other listeners. I'm glad you're here. So we're very happy with the community we created on Facebook. You know, Justin started that out, and we've just continued growing it. And it's always a lot of fun to see what y'all post. And I love to see that y'all are helping one another out too. So it's not just Terry and I answering all the questions. I love seeing the conversations, the interplay going on. So please keep that up. It's great to see.
Timothy says that we shouldn't make this sound like an ending.
That's not an ending.
It's not an ending. And I think he means closing out the show like we normally close out the show.
Oh, maybe.
Let's not get too meta here. I think that's what he means.
DRS is not ending. It's just we're just this is we'll see what happens next 500 shows.
Oh my God, there is no ending to the Wheel of Time. Apparently, not even death is enough to end the Wheel of Time.
That actually was not where I was going with that. Every book begins. There are no beginnings or endings to the Wheel of Time.
Yeah, that's why it's called the Wheel of Time, right?
But weren't we promised a happy ending with this episode?
I don't know what
no massage therapists have showed up at my door.
I wasn't involved in that conversation. I have no idea what kind of quid pro quo is going on there, and I don't want to know.
I made a promise there, and your cats are there. That's as close as you're going to get.
Oh, bummer.
I'm
you
so
can
glad.
owe me until we meet up in Vegas in the fall.
Wow.
I do not need pictures of this or memes or anything else.
Well, no, I'm thinking he could get, those porn flappers are always handing stuff out. He can schedule me somebody.
Nathan Petty says he came for singing.
Yeah, they were supposed to be singing. You were supposed to, do a rendition of something.
Feelings, nothing more than feelings.
Sue had said something earlier here. Let me scroll back up here and see what she was talking about.
I guess I'll sing So Much for My Happy Ending.
Where is
what time you were pretending?
Oh man, I rapped last night. I found a sentence in Destruction that is so bad I can't believe none of us caught it. It's not poorly written, but it rhymes all the way through. It rhymes 3 times. So I was like, I can't narrate this. It's too damn funny. So I ended up changing it.
Sue wanted us to sing "You Are My Sunshine."
I don't even know the freaking lyrics to that.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray.
You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Don't take my sunshine away.
Yeah, I totally couldn't stop there while you were doing that. That's awesome.
There, you got some singing.
Anyway, folks, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your Saturday to come and be with us on this special occasion, our 500th episode. We deeply appreciate you being here, and we apologize for being ourselves in the live format because that's just how we roll. I'm not going to do the rest of the ending here. I'm just going to let it sit as it is and leave it with this. We look forward to trying to make an entertaining next 500 episodes, and we'll see in 10 years what things look like.
Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that.
And with that, we are out of here. Have a great weekend, folks, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, David, for coming on and trying to herd these cats.
Any old time.
All right. We'll see y'all.